All right. Welcome, everyone. Here we are for the Wednesday morning Ask Sharon. As you can see, Sharon is not here today. She is enjoying some well-deserved time with her grandson and with Michael in Alaska, but we have a treat today. Obviously, Sharon's always committed to making sure you guys are getting value every single week. And today we have Shawn Thomas, who she introduced earlier in the week. Shawn Thomas is an exceptional entrepreneur. He's made several successful exits, started multiple businesses, and he's going to share his experience with you today during the Ask Sharon segment. So if you have questions and you haven't sent them in, get them ready, put them in the comments. Shawn, founder of Ask A Millionaire. You also have a group called Most Won't I Will, because that is the lifestyle of an entrepreneur, and I'm sure you're going to talk more about that today. So without further ado, I'm going to let you take it away, Shawn.
Awesome. Thanks, Angela. You're going to take off, so I'm not going to see you anymore, right?
I'll be listening. I'm a fly on the wall. If you need me, you know where to find me.
Sounds good. Well, hey, everybody. Once again, my name is Shawn Thomas. Like many of you, I am an entrepreneur. I'm also an angel investor, and I am a partner and owner in a couple different companies. After I sold my technology company in 2013, I got really passionate and dedicated to helping startup entrepreneurs learn how to grow their businesses. And growing a business to me is a very crazy journey. There's the startup stage, and then there's when you start to get a little bit maturity, and then you turn into a full-fledged company. And today I wanted to talk to you about something that was very instrumental into me finding success and learning how to get really focused and disciplined, passionate, and determined on making positive changes in my life that really produced fantastic results. And it all revolves around goal setting. 99% of people that I meet today who are not achieving the success that they want to achieve don't do goal setting. They have dreams, desires, and wishes, but they don't have real goals. And what I mean by that is they don't write it down. They don't track it. They don't measure it. And they're not constantly going back and revisiting their goals. And the reason why I find that most of the people that I encounter that I start to mentor or coach is they're afraid of messing it up. When we're afraid of messing things up, sometimes we escape from it and we don't look at it. For instance, how many of us today actually reconcile our financial statements in our own personal life every single month like we used to? I'm kind of old, showing my age, back in the day of having a checkbook, and we would reconcile our checkbook every single time we wrote a check. And we knew what was going on, where our expenses and income was. Well, today, based on technology, we've all kind of stopped doing that, most of us. And so as I started to take a look at how I found success in business and how it related into my personal life, goal setting has always been a big thing to me. So to keep it kind of simple, I know a lot of us have heard, the term SMART goal. It's an acronym that stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. And there's a lot of different wordsmithing that goes in there on how people mix those words. But that's what a SMART goal is. And if you hang on till the end of this live stream, when I've got some time to leave a comment, I'm going to leave a comment with a website, a free resource website that I have found out there in the World Wide Web that can take you in and out and through every part of what's goal setting, how to do it, why to do it, where it came from, and it actually has free downloadable worksheets. So if you've had a hard time finding a system to utilize in which to set goals and measure and track them, I found a resource online quite a few years ago, and I send people to it, and everybody loves it. So if you hang on till the end, I'm going to comment that, and I'll put it right here into the Facebook group. Hey, Lisa, good to see you. Kim, good to see you. As some of you guys come in, I'll say hello as well. Nora, good to see you as well. So let me tell just a real quick story about how I do my goal setting and why I do it this way. And then I've got 4 questions that came in, and I'm going to answer these 4 questions. I treat my goal setting just like I treat my forecasting and budgeting for my business. Now, it may seem like a very time-consuming process, which to some it is, but as you know, in your personal life, when you develop a habit of doing something and it truly becomes a habit, it doesn't seem like it takes a lot of time because you know the benefits and the rewards that you're going to get for doing it. The way I treat my goals is though I set out annual goals each and every year. And I've got two different types of goals. I've got a one-time occurrence type of goal, and then I've got my annual goals. Now, the reason that I want to do, and I have success with annual goals, is we all know that thing called shiny object syndrome. A lot of people who are trying to reach success, they talk about getting distracted or losing focus. What I have found works best for me and the clients that I work with and the business owners that I mentor is if we put together a solid game plan for just 1 year, which to some seems like a lifetime, but a year goes by so fast these days, right? Gosh, it goes by so fast. If I set out an annual goal and I stay focused and determined on just those annual goals, I know that if I reach those goals for the year, then I feel successful in life. And whenever a new shiny bright object in the form of an opportunity presents itself to me, if it doesn't align with my annual goals for that year, if it's something that's going to drastically benefit my life, then it's going to be there a year from now as well. Or I might make a special exception if it's just that great of an opportunity, and I'll see if I can work it into my current annual. So in business, what we do, when we get to have mature businesses, we put together annual budgets and forecasts. We do this in October, November, and December in the fourth quarter of the year. So that when we go into January, we know what our projected profit and loss statement is going to be for January, February, March, all the way throughout the year. It's already set in stone. That's called our forecast. It's the same thing if we say in 2019 or 2020, here are the goals that I want to achieve throughout the year. Then what we do is we start measuring those results each and every month and each and every quarter to see if we're on track with the actual forecast or budget that we've put together. This is where a lot of people fall short. First, they fall short in the setting of the goals for the future year because it's new to us. When it's new to us, we're not really going to know exactly what we're capable of in an entire year when we get focused because we've never gone through the exercise. Mature businesses and CEOs of mature businesses utilize previous data in order to set future forecasts and goals. And this is an exercise that once you get started doing it within the second or third year, you'll start to understand what you're truly capable of in a year. Here's the interesting thing. When I start going through this exercise with people that I coach and I mentor, they drastically underestimate how much they're going to be able to accomplish in a year. They say, well, Shawn, if I can accomplish just these things in a year, I will be completely excited and feel successful in that year. When I work with them, we normally end up hitting their goals within 6 to 8 months. And they're completely surprised because once we get focused and we stay laser focused on our goals, it's amazing what we'll be able to accomplish because we're revisiting those goals and those activities every single day, week, month, and quarter, and it's amazing what we can accomplish. So what I would stress to you is as you look at goal setting, take a look at it first as an annual perspective. That's the way that you're going to have the most compounded results in our lives is when we treat it more just at 12 months. Now, there's also going to be some one-time occurrence goals. Like we might say, I need to lose 10 pounds. And we know it's not going to take us an entire year to lose 10 pounds if we get focused, right? So we might say, I want to lose 10 pounds and I want to set a date to do that within 2 months or 3 months. So if we know statistically, and I'm not going to bore you with the details, but my trainer's like, hey, Shawn, I know that we can legitimately lose 2 pounds a week. So if you want to lose 10 pounds, we can do that in 6 weeks if you put together a great meal plan, get on your exercise, and we can lose 10 pounds. So that might not be an annual goal. That might be a one-time occurrence goal. So there's annual goals that we want to stick to keep from getting distracted, and then there are one-time goals that we could just bust out real quick and make it happen. Hope that's making sense for those of you that are here in the live stream. And let me see if there's any comments here real quick in the Facebook group. Hey, Marilyn, good to see you. All right, here we go. Okay, so that's kind of what I want to talk about as goals is the reason that goals are so important to me in my life is it keeps me focused. there's always new opportunities hitting us in the form of advertisements, friends telling us about the latest, greatest of this or that. It's such a relieving factor personally when we can say, hey, thanks so much for that opportunity. I'm going to take that and I'm going to match that with the goals that I have for this year and see if I can work that in. And if I can't, maybe I'll revisit next year and I'll put it on a parking lot to revisit that in October, November, and December. You can't imagine the amount of weight that is lifted off your shoulders when you get to blame your excuses for your reasoning and your excuses for not taking advantage of a new opportunity because you have to take a look at your goals. It's like saying, hey, no to your kids. No, go talk to your dad. That takes the weight off of you, right? Go talk to your mom. Well, it's so nice when you have the excuse of, I'm very focused on my goals. I'm going to have to take a look and see if that's going to help me achieve the goals that I have for this year. And it gives you an easy way to say no, which for some people, it's hard to say no, right? Do you have a problem? Do you have a hard time ever saying no when someone wants you to do something or wants you to take a look at an opportunity because you want to be nice, but it puts you in an uncomfortable situation? It helps you take the weight off when you say, hey, I've already established my goals for 2019. I'm really sticking on these, but send me some information and I'll put it on my parking lot to take a look at for 2020. It just makes saying no so much easier. Okay. All right. So I've got 4 questions that came into Sharon's group that as we talk about this type of stuff, and I'm going to answer these 4 questions here. And so the first question comes from a gentleman by the name of Paul. And Paul says, I am a real estate investor. I have several multi-unit residential properties. An acquaintance has invited me to participate in a land development deal that she's working on. This would be a first time for me on land development. It would require me to reallocate capital that I have previously earmarked for additional multi-unit properties. I like the idea of diversifying into a new type of deal, but I'm concerned about reallocating capital from an investment category I am familiar with to an unknown territory. What is your advice on staying focused on what I'm good at versus exploring new types of opportunities? This is a fantastic question, and it goes exactly with what we're talking about with shiny, bright object syndrome. There's always going to be new, shiny, bright objects, and some of those opportunities can be life-changing and game-changing. However, I would look at this type of opportunity as something to utilize what we just talked about. What Paul isn't taking into consideration here as well is he's not looking at just reallocating capital, but there's going to be time, and it could be considerable time that he's going to have to put into developing the knowledge that's needed in order to understand and analyze the deal itself. So it's not as simple as just taking some capital and throwing it into the land deal. There's going to be an analysis and decision-making period of time that goes into this type of deal. As soon as I take away attention and time and focus from what I'm good at, which is what he is asking, and I'm looking to get into something that's new to me, even if it might be complementative in nature, I'm still going to lose time that I can put into the existing goals that I have for myself. And there's a potential of increased risk because it's a new type of business opportunity or a new type of deal. So one of the things that I do in this situation is I use that excuse and reasoning for not getting into a deal. I say, you know what? Let's just say the person's name is Judy. Judy, thanks so much for the opportunity. I'd like to take the time to understand this, but right now I'm involved in a lot of other deals, and I've got my 2019 already planned out as where I've allocated time and where I've allocated money. Do you think that this is something that we could revisit in the future, and whether or not I can get involved in this particular land deal or another land deal, at least I can do the necessary research so that I can understand what I'm truly getting myself into. I have always found for me that if I have to make a decision based on somebody else's time, there have been more times that I have lost time and money because I wasn't able to properly research and make the decision that I wanted. I'd had FOMO. I had the fear of missing out on the opportunity, and that increased my risk. Now, I'm not saying that's the same for every type of deal, but I've had more deals and more time and money lost when I have invested time and energy because of FOMO. So to Paul, I would say it's always great to stay focused on what you're great at, because if there's plenty of opportunity and money to be made there, why go into something different? But also remember the time value of your money and all the time you're going to take away from your opportunities to look at a new deal. Hope that answers your question. Feel free to leave a comment if there's any additional information I could provide for you. Okay, the next question comes from Alexi in New Hampshire. Alexi says, I am a marketing expert servicing clients in the hospitality industry. My business partner and I decided 6 months ago to target companies in adjacent industries such as travel and leisure. We have not been able to close a single client in this industry. My business partner asked me, at what point do we need to get it? At what point do we need to call it and stick with what we're good at? How do you decide if it's time to scrap an idea? You know, this is something near and dear to my heart. When I had my last company, Uniguest, we sold to the hotel industry. We sold computer kiosks, business center computer systems, and what have you. And one of my mentors and coaches told me as I was building my company, because I thought, why not put these computers in apartments? Why not put these computers in hospitals? Why not put these computers in senior living facilities? Well, we were really good at selling hotels. So one of my mentors taught me about growing vertically as opposed to growing horizontally. And what that means is growing vertically would be stay within the hotel industry and start learning how to sell more products and services to your existing clients, because it's easier to sell an existing client than it is to get a whole new client in an entirely new industry. So my suggestion when you're looking at this, Alexi, is I know your question is how fast should we just call it on this new industry? When I looked at this, I looked at how much opportunity we had within the existing industry in which we already understood the buying and we were experts within that industry. How big could that get? And when, if at all, would we ever saturate the market and flatline as opposed to continue to grow? The second thing is once again, when we're breaking into a new industry, you're allocating time, money, and money in the form of any capital that's required and any people that you're going to hire to go into that industry. It's a very competitive field out there in the world, and people want to do business with experts. So if you're not expert in the new industries that you're going into, that could be a reason why you're not seeing success in those industries. If it were me, I would immediately take a look at it. I wouldn't wait a day to revisit it and say, would we be better off if we allocated all of our resources and manpower into growing the existing industries in which we know we have success? And then at some point in the future, if we think we're going to saturate that market and we're gonna flatline and not be able to grow it, then we start looking. Do we grow vertically by introducing new products and services into the industry, or do we try to grow horizontally and bring in somebody who has expertise in those other industries and woo them over to our company to build out that division of the company? So that might be something to take a look at. That's what worked for us. When we did start to expand into apartments and senior living care facilities, we actually brought on people that already had relationships in those industries, and we were able to capitalize and just introduce our technology, but we already had the sales cycle and the industry knowledge by bringing somebody else in that already had those relationships. Something to think about. If you have any more information that you want to ask about that, feel free to leave a comment. Okay. Remember, at the end of this live stream, when I have a second, I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste some information in the comment section after I log off on goal setting and defining success in your life, which will help you with all of this. Okay, the next question comes in from Rich in Indianapolis. Rich says, I am 48 years old. I'm 49, so right there with you. I have been a lifelong employee I am working on turning photography into a business on the side. I've never started or been involved in a business other than being an employee. At this point, I'm not trying to quit my job, but seeing if I can make some extra money. I've been more active on social media, but man, is it easy to waste a lot of time online. No doubt about that. What is the minimum you recommend someone do on social media when they're getting started? Okay, I'll give you a real quick question. This is always the hard one. I always say, I just think you have to do anything that you have to do in order to get business. So I know that doesn't answer your question the way you want, but I recommend, and I have a lot of social media accounts, both on Facebook and on Instagram. And what I say is a minimum amount of posts that you want to do on social media is once a day. Now, it's recommended to probably do more like 3 to 5 times a day, and then choose different types of content to put out. So for example, in your photography business, you might want to showcase an example of some photography that you've done. The next is you might want to put together a really funny meme about making fun of photography and how hard it is to do photography, and a side-by-side of a good one and a bad one. You also might want to put together a piece of content that talks about the type of equipment that people can use for photography. You also might want to put together a piece of content that explains what do you want to look for when you hire a photographer. So any type of value-added content that you can give to your audience that builds a relationship and positions you as an authority in the space of photography will help build the relationship and trust, so that when someone thinks, oh, I need a photographer, oh, I trust Rich, we need to reach out to Rich. You could also put together, out of every 5 or 10 pieces of content that you put out, you could put out one special call to action type of piece of content. If you need photography services, here is my website, here's my information, and get them to do a call to action of reaching out to you. Okay. You also might want to put together, and I'm not going to go into a whole marketing session here with you, but you might want to put together some sort of what's called a lead magnet. I'm sure Sharon has probably talked about this in the past. Sharon is a queen of lead magnets. Download my top 5 tips on how to save money when hiring a photographer. The 5 best things to ask when you're looking for a photographer, or something like that. Go to this website, enter your email address, and get the free guide. And now you've got somebody's email address to start sending your email newsletter, your blog, your Instagram posts, or whatever it might be, to start continuing to build those relationships. That's kind of the marketing 101 out there. But I think 3 to 5 times is recommended, minimum of once per day on social media, on each of your social media outlets. So Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook, Pinterest, wherever you are, one piece of content per day on each outlet is a minimum, in my opinion. And that is just an opinion. It's not a fact, but that's what I would do. Okay, and the last question comes from Naomi. And Naomi lives and works in Salt Lake City, Utah. Okay. Naomi says, I am a controller working for a large corporation, but I'm now building my business helping entrepreneurs understand their numbers. I have a lot of friends and acquaintances that I am starting with, but will need to market myself to find additional clients. I don't have a brand established, but I have an excellent professional reputation. How important is it that I nail my branding before I start my sales outreach? Great question. Well, I can tell you this, that as somebody who markets their services as a personal brand every single day, the competition for people's time and attention and money is more challenging than ever, because everybody is so connected and they are bombarded with so much content and information out there that, in my opinion, branding is vital. Because if you are vying for somebody's time, attention, and money as a stranger, if you say, well, I work for Apple, there's an immediate law of or power of association from a trust perspective. But if you say, I work for XYZ company that they would never hear, then we have the battle of building up the relationship and trust that just gets us the opportunity to be able to present the products and services that we offer. Branding can help you with that dramatically. Branding in the form of a website, social media profiles, those things can go a long way in providing the trust and the relationship that's required in order for you to present your services. So I'm a part owner in a creative agency. I believe in branding so much that when I started mentoring and coaching other entrepreneurs and their businesses, I saw such a large opportunity that for branding that people weren't realizing why their businesses weren't succeeding like they wanted. And it was because they had not put enough attention into the detail of branding. So as you look at doing this, Naomi, there's several parts to look at. The first, which is the first part of what you'll want to go through is in the branding, is your storytelling, which would be your vision of your company, your mission statement, and your unique selling proposition, your big story, and then the smaller stories that support your big selling proposition. It's the who we are, what we do, how we do it, why we do it, and who is our target customer. And it's all spelled out and defined. Now, why is that important? Because when you go to a creative
Shawn, are you there still? Hey everyone, so we're working on getting Shawn back in. Looks like we had a little bit of a connection issue, so thanks for hanging in there with us. If we could get Shawn back in, he's already given us tons and tons of great content. Shawn, are you back with us? Oh, okay. We're gonna hold on and see if we can get him back in. Really great suggestions from Shawn on goal setting. Excellent perspective as far as defining what success is to you, because that's going to play a huge part in how you set your goals. Great input on questions about what's the minimum for social media. Obviously, social media provides us an incredible opportunity to connect with people and form relationships and really establish that know, like, and trust status with potentially new clients. So again, great information so far from Shawn. I don't see that he's been able to get back in yet. It's 10:30 right now. We are so grateful. I know Sharon was thrilled when Shawn said he was available for this particular broadcast. Part of playing big, becoming number one in your field, living your legacy, creating maximum impact is being able to enjoy the fruits of your success. And so we're thrilled that Sharon's able to be out there right now, enjoying time with her grandson, being able to participate in a lifestyle that she deserves because she has played big. So want to say a huge thank you to Shawn Thomas. Thank you to everybody for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you next week on Ask Sharon. Sharon will be back here with us. And if you're not already a part of the Play Big Movement Facebook group, please join us, because we have got the secrets and science of playing big tomorrow. And we have guest host Glenn Lundy joining us. So that's going to be a really great segment. And if you have questions that you'd like Sharon to answer on these live segments, send them to info@sharonlechter.com. Thanks, everyone.